When you work in security, you might get moved around a lot. Normally, I work nights and I'm a regular in one building. I've recently been put in charge of reading over the site logs for other buildings too. It's pretty boring most of the time, but I got $1 an hour pay raise out of it, so I can hardly complain. All the site log is a registry of everything that happened on a particular shift. It's normally just patrols, maybe a bit of damage a guard had noticed, a kid hanging out about here or there, and nothing too exciting. A few things make a log more difficult to get through. Freaking terrible penmanship is the worst one, but another issue is that many guards don't speak or write great English, and it's difficult for them to concisely explain their events. He learned to get by with guesswork. One guy was always hard to understand. His name was Sahab. He was African and a good guard, but even in person it was a struggle to understand him and forget about reading his reports. They were always a headache, but I liked the bloke and I managed them as well as I could. Sahab mostly worked the nights at one particular city office building, nowhere special. Just a regular place with cubicles and drinking fountains, and people who hated their jobs. It was pretty cushy though. He had a booth office all to himself with heating and a radio, and cameras of high enough quality that patrols were not necessary. He just had to chill in the booth and keep one eye on the monitors. About 4 days ago, Sahab started noting problems in his reports. Every time I read through them, it said the same thing. 8 p.m. On site, all okay. 10 p.m. Meal break. 11 p.m. Speak button, scratch, scratch again. 2:05 a.m. A hallway again. 3 a.m. A hallway gone. 8 a.m. Sahab off site, off duty. After seeing this in his reports a few times, I called Sahab to get some clarification. First I asked him about a speak button, scratch, scratch. He told me that every night, scratch, scratch on the speak button back door. I asked him if he meant the intercom around the back of the building. He said, "Yes, every night scratch noise. Very bad." I figured that he meant that the intercom is playing up, and probably picking up some kind of static. I made a note to report it to get it fixed. I asked him about a hallway again. He was quiet for some time. "What's wrong with the hallway, Sah?" "The hallway camera. Every night something, same time." "What's something? What do you mean?" "Camera getting big black spot. It's moving up camera hallway." "Like dirt on the camera?" "No, moving spot. Arms and legs. Something inside." "Okay, it sounds like some kind of distortion. It could be messing up when people walk down the hallway. I'll report it." "No people. Just me. First day 1 camera. Now 1-2 camera closer hallway." Sahab was starting to confuse me and I was tired. I decided I would just request a tech to look at the cameras. I told him then I would get it sorted out. I'm pretty sure the tech went out the next day, but when I got the night report it said the same. Speak button, scratch, scratch. Hallway again. This went on for a couple more days until my night off about 6 p.m. My boss calls me. Sahab didn't rock up for work. He needs me to go in and cover. I'm relatively familiar with that particular building and I could use the money, so I go in. I start the night off by looking over the night before report. I hadn't seen it yet and it would save me doing it later. Sahab had been working. 8 p.m. Sahab on site. 10 p.m. Meal break. 11 p.m. Speak button scratch scratch whisper. 2:05 a.m. Hallway again, 3 camera closer. 8 a.m. No more. Saw off duty. The logbook is spotted with drops of water, and Saw has dug the pen in so hard in the last few sentences that it's ripped the paper. I'm concerned and I call his cell phone. He answers shortly after. No shift, he says immediately. No more work. Another building. We can move you, Saw. I can handle this place for a bit. Saw is quiet again. You are there tonight. Yes, I can cover your shifts. He hangs up. I try to call him back, baffled and thinking his phone must have cut out. He doesn't answer. I decide to just talk to the boss about it tomorrow. I'll settle in with my snacks, a book, and I'll have Reddit to browse over the long shift. My phone buzzes. It's a text from Saw. Go home. That's it, nothing else. I try to call him again, but he doesn't pick up. I'm a little concerned for his health, thinking that he had some kind of breakdown, or maybe he's sleep deprived. It does happen a lot when you do such long late shifts. We try to be vigilant about it. Again, I decide it's just best to bother the boss with it tomorrow and I settle in. It's been a few easy hours, nothing much had happened. The building has emptied out. The cleaners had finished and the underappreciated cubicle staff had finally done enough unpaid overtime. I get to be as chill as I want now. The intercom rings. It wouldn't be staff at this hour. The building is right in the city, so it's probably just stupid teenagers out late and playing silly tricks. I click the speak button. Can I help you? Nothing. Hello? Scratching. Soft scratching like somebody running their nails lightly over the speaker. It sounds nothing like static. I figure that it's just some weird fault and I hang up. When I log it, I notice that it's 11 p.m. The exact same time that Saad experienced the issue. This actually reassures me. Everything in the booth is connected on the on-timer system, so that system knows when to auto-lock doors and arm the alarms. If it always happens at the same time, it's most likely just a technical glitch. I note it all down and I go back to looking at pictures of cats. I remind myself to look closely at the cameras at 2 a.m. to see if they're still faulting too. The time comes. I'm staring at the monitors looking for anything abnormal. I see nothing at first. And then I catch it. Hallway cam 1. It's in the hallway that leads down from the rear door to the front lobby of the building, where my booth is located. The hallway has 3 cameras along it because it has several sharp corners. There is also a pan-tilt zoom. You can control these kinds of cameras with a joystick and look around. At first, it looks like a bug or something on the screen. Just a little dark smudge. Slowly, it starts to grow. Not growing, moving forward. The black smudge moves closer and closer to the camera. It moves very slowly. It's so indistinct. I have no idea what it could be. I watch it get slowly closer to the first turn in the hallway. After an hour, it moves out of camera 1's field of vision. I look over to camera 2. Nothing. I'm not the panicky type. I didn't hear a thing. No alarms are triggered and cameras do weird shit sometimes. I decide that it has to be some kind of fault. I pull the footage from camera 1 and I rewind back to 2:05 a.m. The black smudge is there. I play it back and forth a few times, but I can see nothing else. I extract the footage and I put it on my desktop. I figure I can show it to the techs when I call them back to actually fix this stuff. And the rest of the night is uneventful. I get some reading done and I OD on Red Bull. Come 8 AM, my relief shows up. I hang back 10 minutes for the building manager to come in too. I tell him that we need the techs back out to look at the intercom and the hallway camera. I pull up the footage to show him. There's no smudge. The hallway looks normal. Just an hour-long recording of nothing. I don't understand. I played back the footage fine that night. It was there only hours ago. I explained that much to the building manager. Maybe you ripped the vision from the wrong date. Or maybe you named it wrong. This stuff happens. I'll get the text in and we will sort it out. I decide to blame it on the tiredness, and I head home to bed. I had another shift that night in the same building. I slept and I came back at 8 PM. I went through all the same motions. 11 PM came. The intercom buzzed, scratching again. Louder this time, more insistent. I was confused and maybe a little scared. The techs were meant to have fixed this for sure. It occurred to me it might be the work of some dedicated pranksters. I pressed the talk button down. You kids better bigger off. I don't have a problem calling the police. The scratching stopped. I figured that I had solved that mystery. I went back to killing time. 2 AM came. I didn't immediately look at the cameras this time. Why bother staring at a glitch? If it was even still playing up. A few minutes in, the movement still caught my eye. I looked up to hallway 1. The smudge was back. It seemed to move a bit faster this time. I watched it glide down hallway 1. It left the first camera's line of sight again. And I figured that was it for another night. But it wasn't. Hallway 2 flickered with motion. The smudge was there. And now I felt uncomfortable. The PTZ's line of sight stretched to hallway 2, and I decided to use it. I swung it around in the direction of the smudge. It was there. A lump formed in my throat and my stomach felt heavy. What the hell was that? Part of me wanted to get up, leave the booth and look down the hallway, and try to make sense of this. But another part of me said, screw that. I twisted the top of the PTZ joystick, engaging the zoom function. I zoomed into the smudge. My stomach leapt into my throat. I tasted bile and I lost my breath. The smudge was deep blackness, but it flickered with something. I looked closer. I was shaking like a leaf, but I didn't want to look away from the thing on the screen. It had arms, legs, and faces. Not in any logical places and not all showing up at any one time. Just flickers of limbs and eyes moving at incredible speed, almost vibrating. I couldn't comprehend it. My brain just emptied itself and rejected what I was looking at. I felt frozen in place, staring at that thing. I don't know how long I stared at it as it came closer and closer to the end of hallway 2. Closer to me. It reached the end of hallway 2. Suddenly I was aware again. I felt movement come back to my limbs and I sprung up and locked the door to my booth. I sat low in the corner, hidden from outside view. I clutched my phone and I stared at hallway 3. I waited for that impossible thing to show up on the screen. But it didn't. I looked at the time. 3 AM. It was gone. I studied every camera. Nothing. I couldn't allow myself to go over the footage again. I just sat at the desk wondering what to do. Who do I call for something like that? Am I going crazy? Maybe I was sleep deprived now. It was 8 a.m. again before I knew it. I only tore myself away from my thoughts as the sun started shining on my face through the glass front door. It made me feel safe. Whatever that thing was, whether it's real or not, it was coming closer. I'm supposed to work again tonight. What do I do? Luckily, I was able to talk to my boss about getting somebody else to cover my night shift. He said that if I could go in and work until 10 p.m., he would send Jacob in after that. I got in at 8 p.m. I sorted out my normal duties, which took about an hour. And then I decided it was time to look at the footage of Sa's last shift. I opened up the right date and time in our playback program, and I watched the shift from 8 p.m. onwards at high speed. Sa came in looking nervous. He sat at the desk, fiddling, pacing, looking around. It got to 11 p.m. and I saw him answer the intercom. The booth camera in the corner about 3 meters from the booth. I couldn't see his face too well, but I saw from his body language that he was upset. I saw him scribble in the logbook and look around nervously. He locked the door on the booth from the inside. I sped forward to 2:05 a.m. Sa sat at the desk, hands gripping the edge tightly. He stared at the camera monitor. He barely moved. His hands moved to his cheeks. He looked to be digging his fingernails in hard. But still, he stared at the monitor. I sped through till 3 a.m. A cold wave of terror hit me. The thing was just outside the booth, and Sa still stared at the monitor. He slowly looked behind him, confused. He looked back at the monitor. He looked directly at the camera. He looked back and forth in confusion for a good 5 minutes. He walked to the door of the booth, staring out through the glass directly where the thing was. He picked up his phone and he dialed a number. Stark realization hit me. That night, Sa had called me. I thought nothing of it at the time. We were both working that night. I figured that he wanted to ask a question or something. I had picked up the phone that night and said hello, but there was no answer and he had hung up. I remember thinking that he had pocket dialed me or something. I saw Sa hang up in the footage. As soon as he did, the thing was gone. Sa sat back at his desk and stared straight ahead for the next 5 hours of his shift. And then he went home. I couldn't comprehend what I saw. I don't understand what happened. By the time I finished watching, Jacob had arrived. I bid him a good night and a silent good luck. This afternoon I went back there, and Jacob had reported nothing odd in his log. However, I happen to know that Jacob sleeps through the great majority of his shifts, so that may not be a surprise. I had wanted to talk to the cleaners. Today 2 regular people were in. A lady in her 40s named Janice and a younger Eastern European bloke called Danko. I talked to Janice first. She said that she had never noticed anything strange and that they didn't work late at night there anymore. I asked her why. She said Danko used to, but he had wanted to change his hours. That motivated me to talk to Danko too. He wasn't very forthcoming with information, but he eventually told me that he had changed to daytime hours because he didn't like working in a near-empty building, and that it made him uncomfortable. I asked him why, but he told me that there was no particular reason, and that he had nothing more to say about it. As I said goodbye and I turned to leave, he called out to me. "You can smell it. You can feel it. Run when you do." I snapped around and I asked what he meant. He told me that he had said nothing and went back to emptying the bins. He wouldn't meet my eye.